All right, it's 6 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. Historical Commission meeting, September 16th. Reminder, we are a recommending body. We provide recommendations to City Council. For us, we'll use the microphones, and only people here will be able to provide public comment, not on the live stream. So with that, we'll get rolling. Item number 1 is the approval of the minutes from the August 19th meeting. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a correction to the minutes. For item number 3 on last month's agenda, the project at 132, 134 South Prince Street, I was quoted as remarking that a planter or bollard might be placed next to the non-operable door. That was in paragraph 3. That was actually in reference to the entryways being recessed as required by the land development plan in paragraph 4.
Okay. Okay, would you like to make a motion to approve with that correction?
Okay, so moved.
Is there a second? Is there other discussion on it? Okay, all in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. The first item, well, item number 2 technically, is 439 West King Street. So who's ever for that? If you want to come up here to the table, yeah, you can plug in. It's pretty long. Let me see if I have one here. No, I left it in the office again.
Show everybody here.
Okay.
A C to, yeah, that'll be it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The city can have an investment in that piece.
Yeah.
We just
There we
needed
go.
the city to buy one of those dongles here, so we have it. If you can turn on that mic, yeah.
There we go.
You want to introduce yourself and then the
Okay.
project, you can roll through what you have here.
Sure. I'm Mike Lapp. I am the owner of the Dogwood LLC, Dogwood Holdings, the owner of the property at 441 West King Street. That property also borders up to Grant Street in the back. Can you guys see what I'm looking at? You have it on your screen? Okay.
And it looks better.
Okay, thank you. So let me just pull up. So what we're trying to do here is, I'll give you a picture. This is from West Grant Street. What we're looking to do is remove that shed/building. We just recently purchased the property in January of 2024, and you can see there's a driveway going back that accesses the back of 441 and 439 West King. We're looking to ask to remove that building. The reason is it's a 7-unit building that we have sitting there, and the tenants, if they have a small car, they can fit through there. But that's the only thing that can really make it through there, and that's when you're folding in the mirrors on both sides. So with off-street parking being the issue that it is in the city, we're looking to make that more accessible and possibly add some parking spaces back there as well. And then I will show you a better, let me see if this is a really bad sketch, but if you look there on the right-hand side of your screen, I have the driveway marked. That is West Grant Street, and that would be coming in off Grant Street, and that red block is the shed that we're looking to remove. There is now, we can park about 7 vehicles back there, if not more. It's all gravel, so it's already there. The problem is we're not gaining true access to the back parking space because of the shed. We can't utilize that space correctly. So what we're asking is to have that shed removed. Have a contractor come in, remove the old boards, and they would take them and reuse them as they see fit. And then here is a picture from looking at the parking lot out towards Grant Street.
So, but question, you don't use the shed or the garage at all now?
So it is currently being used by the previous owner. You might know them. I think it's Red Rose Realty, Dave Huber, one of his name. He's been in the city for 50 years pretty much. He's an older gentleman. He has the rights to that shed for a year after we purchase, so that's coming up in February 1st. We would have access to that shed.
Okay.
So at this point, it was a lot of junk and, I say junk, it was his items that he is slowly selling and removing up to that date.
Have you considered, I see there's a garage door on the front.
There
on the
is.
street side. Have you considered putting a garage door on the back and driving through that building to get to the parking?
I have not considered that.
You might actually be able to get a few spaces in the garage and then more. And you could actually get a couple pull-in spaces in front of it.
Yeah,
You could just drove through the garage.
that is a good point. I don't know if these pictures show it very well. The other, I guess, concern you could say is the way the structure of the building, the integrity. If you look at the gable end there towards the driveway, it has a really big bow in it. Our thought was, and then it also, it touches the other building there, the brick building that is not ours. The thought would be is that it'd be easier to remove it than try to stabilize it and make it usable, let alone having vehicles drive through and potentially, again, the garage door is really narrow, my pickup, I have a 1500 Chevy pickup, it definitely could not fit through there because of the width of the garage door that is currently in there. But I had not thought of that.
It's a steel frame building though, right?
It's all wood structure.
Oh, it's wood?
Yeah, so it was built in 1970-ish. The owner, Dave, he was from a barn that was torn down. He reused that lumber to build this.
Okay.
So-
I thought there were photographs of the interior that showed steel.
I did submit them. I can see if I can find them if you guys have a minute. I can show you. You guys,
Look,
yeah, I'm sorry, it's not,
wood with metal deck.
Okay.
yeah, metal roofing. Do you guys have those pictures?
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull them up? Are you guys,
It is wood, and then it's got where the metal roof's right on it, maybe.
yes. So it's open rafters.
Exactly. The walls look a little open. Porous also. There's
Yeah.
see through it.
But no, I had not thought about adding the garage door and even renting it out. We processed that. Again, we're just bringing more traffic to a property that's already has a parking issue. And then that's where we're not, if you rent the shed out, you're more than likely going to have a pickup, You can squeeze in the front, but we have some of the tenants utilizing that space now because of not being able to access the back properly.
So the whole intent is to demo it, you're not putting anything back in terms of half of a shed or anything anymore?
You just
No.
want all
Just
surface
the
parking.
open it, okay.
Just remove it, just remove it totally. That would be the thought process. It's just to utilize more parking in that space. And then we also own the property beside that at 445 West King. And that would also gain us access to utilize that parking in the back of that property as well. If we'd want to, we could.
Could you go back to your aerial view?
Yes. Let me see here. So this is this picture is probably not ideal.
Which one is that you also own?
So if you look at 445, can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
So right there is 445 West King, and this is 443 West King. That property line comes over to here, cuts across, and goes and follows borders 430, 441, and 439.
Okay.
So we would take this, we could utilize this space here, because this is basically one big parking lot as well.
So you could actually get access to your property through 445? Or is it 435 or?
Well, the one with the 439 and 441, we could if we remove that. Now, we do have access through this private drive. They did allow us to utilize this.
Okay.
Complete transparency, we can utilize this. However, my goal would be to put a fence, clean this area up really nice. Right now, there's a lot of, it's not ideal, put it that way, 'cause it's really tight right here, and there's rocks here in the corner, and people keep, I guess, driving over this guy's corner. So I'm just really trying to open this up to utilize this space back here. That way, depending on who owns this property, they could say, hey, we no longer want you to use this.
So you
And now-
don't have an easement or anything?
We don't now, but he's just, out of the goodness of his heart, he's letting us use that. But if they would ever put a stop to that, we would lose potentially 10 spaces back here of parking of off-street.
So for the new parking that you're proposing, this is outside the purview of
Sure.
the Historical Commission, but I'm asking are you going to have to do land development for this?
It's all gravel already, so I don't know.
But I mean, you're just planning to keep it gravel? or-
Yes, I wouldn't be doing any blacktop. No. I mean, there's some loose, there's some grass coming up right behind the building, but the actual, the area mostly in the back, somebody put gravel down at one point or another, so.
I'm just wondering because, it's not, most people would argue that this is not a historic building.
Sure.
And why is the Historical Commission even concerned about this? But it has more to do with its place in the streetscape and just the mass of the building. And I think it's the Historical Commission and the zoning ordinance, kind of discourages demolition of buildings for surface parking.
Sure, that's fair, okay.
If you were proposing to build something on this property, it would be a completely different discussion. But because you're proposing to use, just to do surface parking, I think it might be a bigger question. This project might be a bigger question just than whether you can tear the shed down or not. It might fall into land development and then having to deal with stormwater, and
Okay.
the city might not allow you just to gravel that property for parking.
So if he took it in for a building or a demo permit, they would tell him if, what was necessary or
Because
not.
the zoning ordinance has rules and regulations for parking.
Sure,
You may not be allowed to just have gravel parking, even if it's on a private lot.
gotcha, okay,
So I think this needs a little more research.
okay.
I would say that it's not on the front, it's not
It's not right on the
a
street.
street. There's literally a pole there, so it's not like, 10 years ago or something, there was something on the street. Or it's not like you're gonna demo it and put something on the street face, that's, 10 feet wide or narrower or something. That, I'm not sure why that pole's there, but, it doesn't, I guess Suzanne's, or one of the notes here was that you said it was 1970-ish. I guess we have to go by,
Really is historic.
on the one hand, it might make it by date. On the other
By a
hand,
few days.
it doesn't necessarily make it by aesthetic.
Quality.
I don't,
I'm just concerned that typically, when the Historical Commission is asked to recommend approval of demolition, it's typically for construction of something else to replace.
Okay,
And as I said, the Historical Commission and the zoning ordinance discourage demolition just for surface parking. If you have not looked into what the city will allow you to do with regard to parking, I would be hesitant to recommend approval of demolition of a project that you don't have all the details of yet.
Okay.
Because it may be a much bigger project than just gravel, putting in some gravel.
When I sent you the staff review of the agenda on Thursday, I did mention reaching out to stormwater, especially, because even though it's gravel now, they might make you, upgrade it and meet current standards. So there was a staff person whose name I mentioned. It's worth a discussion with her just to find out what you might be required to do and cost.
Yeah, I must have misunderstood. I thought before I do any of that process, I need to first get the approval that you guys would.
Separate processes, but it might come into play.
Okay.
And I'm not opposed to approving demolition with obviously the stipulation that
Because
the other entities are consulted, stormwater and zoning, et cetera. Like, I'm not really opposed to that.
But
If it gets rejected on their end, then it does.
the Historical Commission has been burned several times in recommending approval for demolition for something else to happen. And the building's torn down, and then that something else never happens. So we recommended, so a building is gone, and what was planned to replace it never happened.
Sure.
So I don't want something like that to happen. Again, it's not that this is a precious building,
Sure.
but I just think we want to be very careful if we can phrase the recommendation that no demolition permit be issued until all other approvals are in place, maybe.
The other alternative is
Yeah.
have a discussion with the stormwater people.
Sure.
Find out what's
Yeah.
involved.
Sure.
And then, they're not opposed, but they just be thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I thought once we get hey, you guys are okay tearing it down as long as everything else is permitted properly. That was my understanding how this works, but if we need to come back to this again, I can do that.
And just,
I don't know how you feel about it either way.
just also as kind of a heads up, if it does become a stormwater project, a land development project,
No,
that approval process will
Yeah.
take 6 months
Yeah.
or more.
we would at this point then probably just leave the building. We're just trying to make.
February anyway, right?
What's that?
You said you weren't getting it till February.
No, we're not getting it. I mean, and realistically, the building can stay there about me. I was just trying to, I know off-street parking, we own more properties, that off-street parking is the biggest problem in the city.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to utilize some of the space that could be used versus this barn that looks like it could blow over with a gust of wind.
I have a neighbor across the street who's complaining on Facebook about not being able to park. I live in a dense neighborhood too, so.
Yeah, sure.
I understand your dilemma.
Yeah, it is really tight back there. I took a drive up there today and I had a tiny car and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I would fit
It's tight.
outside.
It's tight.
But
So I understand.
I just feel that like there's still too many unanswered questions for us to make a decision tonight. So if you'd be willing to if we could table it until next month, until you have a chance to talk to the city departments.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, whatever. I mean, if you can guide me who to talk, what I need,
I'll just resend it to you.
Yeah. Because if it,
There's nothing more you have to submit to them, they just want you to have more information.
Yeah.
What this entails.
because like what I was going to mention, if it becomes a full-blown parking lot project where you have to, comply with the city, the zoning, the standards that are in the zoning ordinance, that might include screen planting, which would, you could plant shrubs or trees along the property line, which would go toward kind of ameliorating the loss of the mass of the building. But we just don't, we don't know that yet.
Sure.
So. Yeah, so do we make a motion to table until next month?
That is one of the routes, yes, we could do that.
Okay. Are you agreeable to?
Yeah, I'm as long as I know who I need to contact, would I come back and present that again? Do you, in front of the historical site, I mean, here?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to come back, is it 45 days, or what's the,
When the next meeting is October 21st, you have your answer, then you're welcome to come back. You need more time to think about it.
So I guess let me just, without being rude, let me just ask you this. If they would give me the okay and I would have, hey, you can apply for permits as soon as they approve it, everything's good going our end, would you approve that then, or you still would need to think about it? I guess I'm just asking, would it be, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the best way, or in my mind, I guess what makes sense here.
Yeah.
So if I go through all that legwork, have everything basically pulled,
You're going to know exactly what this entails, the budget, what the land development.
Okay.
If you're all comfortable with that, you just come back and tell them that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want you to misunderstand that I'm taking the position that, no, you have to save this beautiful building.
Sure.
I'm just saying that there are too many unanswered questions right now
Okay.
for us to make a recommendation that might come back to bite us.
Okay. Okay,
as
that's
happened
fair.
in the past. So
Yeah, I don't think we're
as
opposed to it
maybe
generally.
an overabundance of caution, I'm hesitant to vote to recommend approval tonight
Okay.
because of, some unanswered issues.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
Yeah. Having said that, I think that what you mentioned, Steve, about, I think it's easier for us to approve when it is about the streetscape and if you did come back and say, this is my plan to put plants or shrubs or whatever,
or a fence or something that would kind of maintain the street
Oh,
line,
that way.
rather than just driving down the street and just seeing a big old parking lot.
Yeah, I see what you're doing. Okay.
There's
Yeah.
kind of competing interests.
Yeah.
People want to live in the city and they want to have a place to park.
Mhm.
But parking lots are not really, characteristic.
Sure, that's fair. No, that's fair.
so it's not abnormal for Grant Street,
Yeah.
there are.
Yeah.
There are some kind of alleys that are kind of like the Wild West.
Yeah.
Don't kind of
No,
follow
it's-
the patterns of the rest, the
Yeah.
major streets, but,
No,
Do you want to make a motion then? I think,
I would just, Mr. Chairman, I would just move that we table this application until the applicant obtains some more information about what may be required to develop this project.
is there a second? Any discussion? Please, yeah. All right, all in favor to table, say aye. Aye. All right. We'll table it and hopefully you get all your answers.
Okay.
Come back, so.
yeah, I appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, 25 Fremont.
If you give me a minute, I'll plug in here.
Yep, you're good.
Sorry. I'll get this going here in a second.
That's fine.
I'm ready.
All right, if you want to introduce yourself and
Yes.
the project, and you go through it then.
Yeah, again, my name's Dale Schenk. I represent Ebersol Builders Construction. We're based in Mount Joy, do work all over central Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Again, I have a very few slides, 7 or 8 to be exact, so I'll just run through this quickly. But anyway, Ebersol Builders has made a decision to build a house as a donation for Habitat for Humanity. So we're intending to rally our trade partner base and suppliers to build a home at no cost to their mission. And they actually have the family picked and So that train has left the station. We're just kind of working through some logistical stuff. So you have seen the plan. Again, the lot is a 25-foot lot on Fremont Street. It's very narrow, so we're building a 14-foot wide home. I know I received your commentary. The windows, again, there's a window in the back of my car. The salesman brought their own color sample, but I'm intending to put white windows in the home, 1/1. Again, fairly basic.
Yep.
Front door, we're intending to put a pre-finished fiberglass door, stain door. And those, the overhead garage door, again, this is a bit unique to this street. We're actually putting a single-car garage that faces the street. And we're going to do a carriage-style overhead door. We have a goal of doing some brick on the front of the home, and I know that's, the commentary referenced that it's unusual, but I'm sorry I jumped ahead there, but we're also, again, it's traditional. I actually have the brick sample, the siding sample, and the roofing sample. But
So it's vinyl siding?
it'll be vinyl siding, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Lapsed.
And this is actually the color. It's considered sandstone.
Okay.
And
Standard roof shingle then?
yeah, standard architectural style roof shingle. Again, the soffits and fascia and all the trims would be a white trim.
So it looks like you've wrapped the brick around to the first 20 feet or something?
Yeah.
Is that what-
Again, it's kind of a recessed kind of access into the front door, the main door to the home. And I think it's, from my construction perspective, it would be nice to just kind of see, feel, and touch brick at that element.
Yeah, I mean, it's not typical to have two building materials like that, two finished materials on a city house, but to me, that's not as big an issue as the other comment that Suzanne made about the 18-foot deep entrance, which is really, I think, unique
Okay.
to the city. And are you familiar with defensible space theory?
No, I'm not.
This was a theory developed in the early 70s, kind of as a response to the large public housing projects that were built in the 60s and were complete failures. And the defensible space theory, I'm just going to quote from the Googles. It's a theory that suggests that the design of a physical space can affect how people interact with it and can be used to reduce crime. And I think Suzanne hinted at it in her review that an 18-foot, an entrance set back 18 feet from the street is not a safe entrance.
Well, I will add, and again, I did not throw the site plan on the PowerPoint. This home does have a 5-foot yard setback. So we are not right against another property. So there is, in theory, open space to either side of this home.
Just the fact that, if somebody wants to go to this house and knock on the door, they've got to go back 19 feet.
Mhm.
If they're there to do harm, no one on the street can see them. And if somebody, and also defensible space has to do with the occupant of the home being able to survey his neighborhood, to know what's going on. And if something's happening out on the street, that homeowner can't look out his front door and see what's going on. He actually has to leave the safety of his home and travel 18 feet out onto the sidewalk, rather than being kind of in the safety of his front door. So I think, maybe there's some way that this could be redesigned so that rather than having the door set all the way back, the door is out on the street. The width of the house, or the door is incorporated into the front wall of the house. And maybe there's an 18-foot deep corridor inside. But I think from a safety standpoint, I think that would be preferable. Or it could even be set back maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, so that you have a little stoop. Again, a little buffer space between the street and the house. But I think that, and I'm just thinking about, you said there is a 5-foot side yard setback. But that area is gonna be dark. And I'm assuming it's gonna have to be lighted, and it'll probably be lighted 24 hours a day. It's gonna be dark during the day. I just don't know that it's a pleasant entrance to a house. I mean, to me, that's the overriding issue with this design. I mean, the gambrel roof and the two building materials are, to me, are kind of acceptable.
Well, I would say the related thing is that, none of the houses have a door that's set back, so you kind of have lost
Right,
a piece.
right.
And then, along with that, are we okay with the fact that none of the other houses also have a garage door on the front, which is atypical,
Right. I mean,
which isn't the end of the world, but
I mean, there are newer row houses on West Vine Street. I think there's a row of 3 or 4 houses on West Vine that were built within the last 20 years that have single-car garages.
There's some on.
We decided to add this element, again, this is a donation, but if you drive up that street, if you've ever been on that street, it's
There's no
extremely tight.
It's really tight.
It's really tight.
Yeah.
And if I was living there, I would be grateful to be able to pull into a
Yeah.
garage rather than
I think it's,
squeeze into that
Yeah,
logistical
if
nightmare.
If there's,
If there's cars on both sides, you're in real trouble.
I live in that neighborhood, so I
Yeah.
know it, and I normally don't go up that block unless there's something blocking my regular,
yeah.
a garbage truck or an ambulance or something, and then I've got to go up Fremont.
So we made the decision to include the garage because we thought it would be a nice asset to the potential
Yeah.
homeowner.
Suzanne, did we not review was that Fremont Street where the 3 houses they were gonna build? So, yeah, so they didn't have garages, and I don't think they had planned for parking in the back either. So,
park right in front of the house.
yeah,
That's right next to this,
it's the neighboring
All right.
lot, so,
the 1921, 23.
it's down the hill.
Down the hill.
There will be 3 new houses that have been recommended for approval in the last, maybe 2 months ago?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's all start construction the same day then. That'll be fun.
You can park your construction equipment there and really take up all the parking.
And I believe, now, there is the house is set back how far from the street, from the curb?
We were lining up, I can unroll the plans, but we were lining up the front facade, including the garage facade, the second story, with the other homes in that same plane.
Because I thought it was in the zoning ordinance that if you're making a garage,
I'm-
you're creating a curb cut.
I might be guessing. Curb cuts.
There is a curb cut there? Okay,
The whole width of the lot, this
okay.
lot is a curb
Because there was
cut.
something that, like, if you're creating a new curb cut, that reduces the parking by 1 car.
Right, yeah.
Provide 2 off.
Right, yeah, we vetted through that process and I think we're okay.
So you're okay with parking space?
Yes.
It's an existing curb cut?
Oops, sorry.
It's funny that tonight's meeting is parking.
I'm gonna fix this photos.
Anyway,
Like the express curve on here.
Okay.
I had site photos on the, if they have the application form.
I think my assistant took some photos and included it with the application.
It looks like just in reviewing, like, kind of the cover sheet, you're asking
yep,
for
there
no
it is.
zoning variances, you're meeting.
We meet all the zoning requirements because again, we're maintaining the 5-foot side yard and all the setbacks. We are,
Why you're ending up with such a narrow house, 'cause-
Yeah. and stormwater it's a minor improvement and we're under the square footage requirements so that we've checked that box.
Okay.
Just trying to build ourselves.
Avoid any kind of,
Yeah, we've spent a fair amount of time to get to this point, so.
yeah.
What do you, okay.
So I'm looking at, so on your number 2 exterior elevation, is that going into the garage, that door?
The number 2, it's a side door into the garage, yes.
Garage, okay. Is that why you made the front door set back so far? What was the thought process?
It was, full disclosure, we actually had the architecture students at Thaddeus Stevens come up with this design. We had a little contest with Thaddeus Stevens, and this is the design that we liked, and including habitat. We didn't get too deep into the potential of it creating a danger zone, to be honest with you. We just kind of liked this footprint. It kind of made sense from our perspective.
You have to look at,
I do hear what you're saying, and I'm not sure where you're going with this, but I could pull that out. I'd like to keep somewhat of an offset there.
well, maybe if it's offset, maybe like 3 or 4 feet, so you create
So
yourself
somebody could step
a little stoop.
step into the stoop, and then to your point, we would just create a corridor, walk through the door, and then there'd be a hall or some sorts.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
would you be willing?
Again, it's not built, yeah, absolutely, I just want to build a house for somebody, and I don't see that as a deal breaker in my book.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's just, if somebody wants to access their garage without opening the overhead door, it's just a service door.
Yeah, and also, I mean, code requires that the garage door be lower than the.
Yeah, there's a step down.
Floor because of potential, fumes.
But it's essentially as a service door, a secondary door into the garage space. But if your recommendation is to pull that out to 4 or 5 feet off the line, and again,
I think the 18 feet is just too deep.
okay,
And I think maybe it's not too great a change to the plan that we couldn't recommend approval tonight if we just say, okay, it's not going to be 18 feet deep, it's going to be 3 feet deep or 4 feet deep.
I would like to go with 4. Again, I would like somebody to be able to stand outside, I'd keep that overhang so somebody could get out of the weather and stand outside the door, unlock the door and have cover. They'll obviously have a recessed light in the ceiling or something,
Yeah,
and then, yeah,
and that's more in line with the patterns in the neighborhood
okay,
rather than this
I'm fine with that.
thing, so.
Were there other recommendations or concerns?
I like the brick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not typical, but it's,
And my take on that, just because I'm interested in the architecture of Lancaster, if you do Google Earth shot of Lancaster City, there is a lot of red brick.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought it would be cool to have a hint of red brick on
Yeah.
this.
Especially at street level.
That's true, yeah, it just
Vinyl
makes,
siding at
yeah.
street level just doesn't do well.
yeah, again, to me, you're going to walk in, you're going to touch that brick, it just seems appropriate from my perspective.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a recommendation with the modification, I guess?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that City Council approve a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed new construction at 625 Fremont Street with the following conditions. That and the condition being that the recessed entry be no more than 4 feet.
Let's agree to 4.
than the 18 feet shown
Yeah.
in the plan. And this work meets the Secretary of Interior Standards number 9 and the design standards.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries.
Thank
Great
you.
project, thank you.
We'll invite you to the dedication next year. It's a great organization and a great project.
Yeah.
We're super excited about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My trade partner base is excited about it, so we're going to have a lot of fun.
You're to be commended for donating the house
Oh,
to Habitat.
It just, not that you care, but I volunteered one day at Habitat through St. James, and I thought, and the young man that runs that, my start of the day, I was upset because I'm a carpenter, and he had me moving paint cans and stuff, and then my attitude changed. I got an self-imposed attitude adjustment, and I'm thinking, what must that young man do every day? You don't know what band of misfits are going to show up. In reality, you're a volunteer that's happy to move paint cans, or somebody like me that wants to put stuff together. So
Yeah.
I thought, wouldn't it be cool for a group of professionals to just do it? And I sold it to my boss, and I sold it to my subcontractor base, and I approached Habitat, and here I am.
And from an architect's perspective, getting Thaddeus Stevens involved to do some of the design is great.
It's great.
It was just another way to have some fun with it.
He's a great guy, and he's always has good
Yeah.
students coming through there. So
Now, Ted has done the kids did some conceptual stuff, but Ted created these
I
drawings.
can go bug him.
You can go tell him he messed up with the 18-foot thing, and
Stevens needs to have a course on defensible space.
I There you go, you can be an adjunct professor.
All right, now that I'm off there, yes,
Because they're a recommending body,
Yeah.
it has to go on to city council
Okay.
because demolition is not involved. It will go September 24th, which is next Tuesday. I'll send you the materials tomorrow.
thank you.
There
Thank you
go.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate it.
And are you here for 114, 116 West Chestnut?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If you want to come up here then?
Just call it, do you have any,
Show yourself.
well, do you have, something that you bring to the laptop?
Now, this is the second conceptual review?
Yes, it's a conceptual review, so do you have that,
And then I was going to say there was something else that came through.
projected? Yeah. Anyway,
Actually, it was interesting that you sent the second drawing. I was just about to comment
there we
to
go.
the group, but then I realized that that would be considered a violation of the sunshine.
Not allowed to do
So
that,
I
yeah.
didn't communicate with,
Yeah.
with the commission about it, but I think the second option is much better.
No, because it just says you're having a preliminary discussion and they presented what you're reviewing.
Yeah, so,
So if you want to introduce yourself, because I believe last time Mr. Sims was here.
Yes, I'm Robert Loft, and I'm an associate colleague of Joel Sims.
Okay.
And I'm representing Sims Architects,
Okay, great.
so,
And then, yes, we got, I guess Suzanne,
Yeah.
you want to pull up
yes,
the
Two-
second one is preferred?
yes,
yeah.
yeah. Yes, we have a concept 2A and 2B.
Okay. That's how design works.
One with brick on the walnut, on the Water Street side, and one with like an alternate material.
Okay.
So that we're looking at the
Yeah.
existing and the original concept, and that one is the one with an alternate material, like either stucco or ephes or something, and set back a bit.
Yeah,
And the idea is to we move the addition to the back so that we're not building over 114.
Right.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a vast improvement from the first proposal you made to us. Yeah, kind of retains the architectural character of the Chestnut Street facades. Keeps everything to the secondary facades.
What's on the next slide? Okay, there we go.
So the pitch of the roof would continue to climb, so you would actually raise the ridge line, it seems. But I think that's a minor thing that honestly most people wouldn't even notice.
You're asking about the setback, is that the,
No, I was wondering, it does look like it extends, but I'm wondering if that's just an illusion from the.
Right, that's what I was trying-
If it
okay, there we go.
actually sits back a
Yeah.
little bit.
Show me the power.
that's,
Yeah.
sits back there.
Yeah, well, it looks like, you're adding a couple more feet to the slope of the roof on the front of the Chestnut Street side.
That's something that we have to work out, when we get into
But again,
the more detail.
I don't think that's anything that would be, kind of
Yeah.
really
If it's a flat roof, yeah.
noticeable change to the facade. Yeah, I do prefer this second one because it maintains the original roof line on
Yeah.
Water Street. Because honestly, trying to use brick to match,
It's
never
virtual,
match.
right,
You're gonna see the difference anyway.
right.
So why not use another material?
Were there other changes to note from last time?
Well, this is significantly changed because the last time it was, 2 months ago, we had the addition on the front.
Correct, yeah.
Full third
It
story.
was all, and all the way both,
Option one, too, that they.
Yeah, that was option one, and we're just not doing that.
And they're happy with it.
So what we just looked at is that's 2B?
Yes, 2B.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great solution, because honestly, after the meeting 2 months ago, I was really worried about this. This is, yeah,
This month's suggestion, but option one, where it just comes right off the paragraph.
Comes right off, but I see what you did that, on the
Yeah.
one we just looked at, setting that back a bit and keeping it a different material, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. The other.
Yeah, it kind of records the history of the building and how it changed, by, different, changing a roof line, but it kind of acknowledges that change rather than trying to hide it. Yeah, I think this is a great solution.
So they're happy with the setback and the change in material.
Right.
Yep.
Then next, if you want to submit for a formal application for next month. is
Yes.
October 7th.
Yes,
Application, I mean, you have the drawings ready. I'm just going to
Right.
ask for a formal application, which I will email Joel.
okay,
All righty?
right.
If you
So,
can sign the thing.
And,
Is there a, oh, okay, you need a pen. Is there a clipboard there?
They need measured drawings and,
are there,
oh, there they are.
does this project include like window replacement and, I guess that's not
If
really,
it does, you're not looking at it.
we don't review that for renovation.
If they were recladding the stucco on Border Street, you look at that, but they're not.
Yeah, it's just new stucco on the third floor. So I'm not sure that there's even any material samples that need to come before us.
For the little, what the addition of the setback you want to see.
Okay.
Metal or whatever it is.
Maybe catalog cuts or something for if it's a prefab railing or,
Right.
that's a new fire escape, I'm assuming? Yes,
Yeah.
okay, yep.
Technically, you would be looking at that little, if we're calling it a balcony.
The railing of that.
Railing,
Yeah,
On the little-
yeah.
Let me go back to option.
Okay, well, that. Thank you very much. Appreciate the changes.
okay, well, we're happy to submit them.
All right, so I guess we'll close that item, and anything else? Anybody have any other comments? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Suzanne, we don't need to send anybody anywhere right now.
No, unless somebody wants to go for Habitat.
Nah. All right, unless there's any objection, I move that we adjourn 6:48. Thank you, everybody.